virtual education and special education in the New Hope Solebury School District. Now, we all know what's going on with the pandemic. Everything is upside down. And the ones who suffer the most are special ed kids. I mean, imagine them being in school for 2 days a week, like the regular ed kids, and then the rest of the week they're home. I mean, they're going to lose their concentration. It's a whole mess. Fortunately, in this district, from what I hear, the special education teachers are willing, and they are, coming into school so that the special ed kids, not 2 days a week, I think 4 days a week. Wednesday, the whole school is closed because they clean the school up, okay? Now, what about your regular education kids? I mean, they do well in all sorts of academics, but the 2 days a week is wearing on them, no matter where you live, okay? Kids want to be in person. So what do? Well, let me give you a scenario. Mr. and Mrs. John Doe come into school and they say, listen, my kid's in the 4th grade. For kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, fine. Somewhere between average and genius, okay, academically. Socially and psychologically, emotionally, everything is wonderful. But this year, as we know, starting back in March, it's getting a little screwy for him. He's great on Monday and Tuesday. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, he's off the wall at home. All right, it's terrible. He's losing his concentration, and he's not who he was, okay? All sorts of negative emotions. All right. And they come in, and by the way, Monday and Tuesday in school, he's pretty good. Sunday afternoon, he starts to feel better because he knows Monday and Tuesday he'll be in school. But then Tuesday night after school, Wednesday, Thursday, okay. So Mr. and Mrs. John Doe come in and say, what can we do? And they speak to the teacher, and they're looking at options. They don't have the moolah shmoolah, the money, to put them in a private school. All right, or a parochial school where they are in the same area, believe it or not, 5 days a week. The kids are there. All right? Can't do that. The parents are not teachers, so one cannot stay home and help the kid. So they're basically at their wits' end. So the teacher says, listen, let's speak to a guidance counselor or a social worker, the school psychologist, maybe the head of the special ed department. Let's see what we could do. And they do. Okay, fine. Make an appointment. They see her. And she says, listen, our hands are tied. This is the administration. We can't have more than 2 days a week for a regular ed kid. And what we can do is, here and there, maybe he can have a session with the school psychologist or guidance counselor to help him out. Or maybe after school, because sometimes they have clubs. Maybe we could do that. And you know what the parents say? That's all well and good. You can have all these interventions, and certainly you go ahead. But today, right now, the clock begins to tick. We want to refer our child for special education, which is our right under federal and state law. Okay? The clock begins. And I believe, I'm not a special ed specialist, 45 days, you've got to come back with a plan. And we know what the plan is. He's got to be with kids 4 to 5 days a week. That's it. There's nothing where you have to psychoanalyze the kid, all right? And after 45 days, if the plan comes back and it's not to the liking of the parents, you know what they could do? They can file an appeal. That's right, a complaint. And the complaint, I understand, it's about 75 days. The federal law, yes, it takes time. And who knows? By the end of those times, everything is back to normal. But that's the way you get started. All right? Now, here's something you may not know. I'm looking at the enrollment figures here in New Hope Solebury. In the elementary school, 4th grade, 70 kids. 5 classes. That's 14 to a class. What, you can't have 14 kids at one time in the class? Why does it have to be 7 and 7? 7 on Monday, Tuesday, 7. Because I put in, I want to see under the right to know law, the square footage of the classroom. And think about it. You got, when I was teaching, it was 25 feet up and 25 feet this way, 625 feet. Of course, we had 35 kids in New York City. But you could separate them 5 to 6 feet apart with masks. It would be fine. So let's see what happens. But down the road, and if any parent wants to, you have a right. You have the absolute right. I want to file for a special ed. So he gets an IEP, an individual educational profile. And the clock begins. Watch out. Sometimes they say, well, let's try all these different things. Fine. The clock begins on day 1. Understand? And that's it. And I appreciate your comments. And by the way, when I get the square footage of those rooms, I'm going to talk about it underneath the video. That's it. Signing off.